I watched too many cartoons as a child. Alright, so we just did the algebra first, I don't know why I did parentheses, but first video, which started us out on monomials and binomials and trinomials and polynomials, and now we're going to just keep that momentum going. We're going to keep it going like a freight train, and we're just going to just keep practicing binomials for a little while. Good? Good? You like that? I can't hear you. Okay, good. Alright. Marker time! Marker time! I really like my whiteboard. It's not so pretty because I've used it a lot now, but it's efficient in what I need it to do. Okay, binomials. Going. Okay, so let's start out with an easy one. We'll say x minus 1. One of these days I'll learn how to make a good parenthesis. Alright, x minus 1 times 2x minus plus 3. That sounds good. That looks good. It looks good, right? Okay, now we're going to switch up colors, because in case you didn't see the first video, I like colors. Alright? Now I'm going to take my first coefficient times the first coefficient of the second binomial and the second coefficient, or the second number in the second binomial. Too many words. Too many words. We're just multiplying. That's all we're doing. Okay. So I'm going to take my x times my 2x. Now, there's an imaginary 1 right here. An imaginary in front of every coefficient, or in front of every variable. That's what it was in front of. In front of every variable. If there's not a number written, there's always an imaginary 1, because 1 times anything is whatever you're multiplying it by. If it's 1 times a million, it's a million. If it's 1 times x, it's just x. Alright? 1 times anything is whatever you're multiplying it by. So 1x times 2x. 1 times 2 is 2. X times x is like 4 squared. So if I tell you it's 4 squared, that's the same thing as saying 4 times 4. So if I'm giving you x times x, and again this little dot right here, for anybody that doesn't know, means multiply. Alright? But I like to use the dot because we use x as a variable, so if I write x, 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 too many x's. And we got triple H, I don't know. Okay, so if I go the other way, now I have x squared. See how that works? Alright, side note. There we go. So I'm going to take my 1 times 2, and I get 2. X times x, and I get x squared. Now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take my 1x way over here to the far side. 1 times 3 is 3. X times, well, no x's, that just means 1x. That's it. So I've got the plus sign, so I've got plus 3x. Switching colors, red. Now I'm going to take my second coefficient here, and I'm going to multiply it by my first of the second binomial. Again, don't worry so much about the words, as long as you understand the concept, because the words can get all jumbled up and mixed up. Once you get the concept down, then you can worry about all the details. I say concept, math, details later. Alright, so here we go. Now I've got a negative 1 times 2x. So negative 1 times a 2 is negative 2, because the 2 is positive. A positive times a negative is a negative. So I've got negative 2. This doesn't have a variable, but this one does. There's an x here. So it's x times nothing. Not 0, just not another variable. So I've got just an x. So I write up my x. Now I do it again. Go to the far side. And these are arrows, by the way. I like my arrows. Alright, so I've got a negative 1 times a positive 3. There are no variables in this, so it's just negative 1 times a positive 3. Negative times positive is negative. 1 times 3 is 3. Alright, but we're not done yet. No, we're not. So, now I'm looking for like terms, because I'm going to reduce it, just like you would reduce a fraction. So if I gave you 4 over 8, you'd reduce it to 1/2. You're going to reduce your polynomial. Alright, so I'm going to look for like terms. So I'm looking and I'm looking. My biggest one, which I generally put first, is an x squared, right here. Now I'm going to look to see if I have any other x squareds. So anything else to the second power. I'm looking, I got nothing. Nada. So I'm just going to rewrite my 2x squared and cross it out. Next, I'm looking and I see a single x, so an x to the first power. I'm going to look to see if I have any more. Sure enough that I do. So now I look at the numbers because the x's are not going to change in this step. They're not going to change at all. All I'm looking for is the numbers right here. So I have a positive 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I have plus 1x. Marked off. Now, the only thing I have left is a 3 all by its lonesome, so I'm just going to bring it down. Negative 3. This is my answer. Good? Good. Alright, now for these next ones, I'm not going to, say all of these steps, blah, 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 blah. Kristen talked the whole time. Just follow along with what I do. Remember, you can pause at any point in time. You can rewind. This is YouTube. You're probably sitting at home in your underwear. I don't want to know. I got clothes on. We'll just pretend you have clothes on too. Okay. Alright. If you have any questions about this, you can always put a comment on there. It sends me an email when I get comments, or you can ask me tomorrow in class or any day, at school. Be like, Kristen, you're crazy. Just don't watch. I don't care. Alright, so next I'm going to go x minus 3 times x minus 4. And yes, that's a 4. I wrote my 4 fine. Okay, so now I'm going to take, with a different color, x times x. X times x is x squared. X times a negative 4 is negative 4x. A negative 3 times x is a negative 3x. And a negative 3 times a negative 4, a negative times a negative is a positive. So I've got positive 12. Now I'm going to combine like terms, so we're combining like terms. I've got a single x squared. I've got 2 x's, so negative and a negative 3 is negative 7x. Those are gone, plus 12. And that's my answer. Alright, that's all there is. And we're just going to keep trucking along. Look, I don't even got to look. Let's see, next check. I'm going to do 2x plus 1 quantity times x minus 4. Alright? Let's go on. So now I'm going to take my 2x times x, so I have 2x squared. Now my 2x times the negative 4 is negative 8x. Here's my 1, it's a positive 1, times x plus x. Now notice I left the 1 out because remember it's assumed that there's a 1 there, but anything times 1 is whatever you're multiplying it by. So if I put a 1 there, it's still x, it doesn't change anything. It just looks nicer, it's less cluttered. Alright, so now I'm going to take this times my 4, my negative 4, and I've got minus 4. Now I'll combine like terms. There's only one x squared, so that one's gone. So now I've got negative 8x plus x. That gives me negative 7x. Gone. And then all that's left is my negative 4. And that's my answer. Okay. Next up, let's do x squared plus 1 x minus 1. Alright? Now just because I added a squared here, don't get too worked up. We'll get through it together as a team. Like this. Like a team. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing I was doing. X squared times x. When you multiply higher coefficients, you actually add them. So now I've got x cubed. Alright, so 2 plus 1, I'll make a little side drawing here. 2 plus 1 equals 3. You see that? Good. Side note. Alright, so now I'm going to take it times my -1 minus x squared. Again, that 1 is assumed. Now, with a different color, I'll take this times my x, my 1 times my x, and I have plus x. And then again, times the -1. 1 times 1 is 1, but I got to throw in that negative, so I've got a negative times a positive is a negative. Alright, so now, holy cow, I don't have to do anything else. This is my answer. Because look, I've got a 3, a 2, this is an imaginary 1, and then nothing here. I can't combine anything because it's already reduced. Oh! So it was a little bit harder up here, but then you didn't have to do that final reduce step because it was already done. So you give a little, and you get a little, and we work together as a team, team, team. Okay. You'd think I didn't teach adults all day, but I do. Okay, so let's see, how long are we going here? 11 minutes. Let's do another one. Now let's say I did x squared plus 1, x squared minus 1. Alright? Okay, so it's the exact same thing. Nothing changes. Here we go. x2 times 2, which is actually 2 plus 2, so it's to the 4th power. Alright. Again, over to my -1. Now I've got negative x squared. Now I'm working with my 1, taking it over, plus x squared. And then taking it over again, -1. Oh, but we're not done. So now I've got my x to the 4th power, right? Gone. Negative x squared plus a positive x squared. They cancel each other out. I don't even got to write anything down. And I've got my -1 left. Ta-da! Alright. So these were a lot of the basic ones that you'll find, and then a few of the harder ones that you'll find. Hopefully that was helpful. Anybody that wants more, just let me know. And we're going to go to different something on the next video. Alright? Okay. Bye guys. Hope that helped.